There's an elephant and Donkey both on shaky ground, but we got the truth and we gonna shout it loud. From the healthcare to taxes, they can't hide from us. With a wink and a nod, we expose all the fuss. Educating the masses with a smirk on our face, bringing clarity to the headlines in this crazy race. From the White House to your house, we cover it all, putting humor in the facts, we're having a ball. Oh no, America, let's get real and laugh, teaching you the politics with a little bit of sass. Current events and headlines that blow your mind, only on Oh No America you'll find.
Hello everybody and welcome to Oh No America with me, Nora.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Guys, I forgot to turn my lights on. I'm so discombobulated today. Now we've got a show going. I've let the door open here for my dogs. I took a shower because I just took a walk, and I like to be clean, and I like to look nice for you guys. So my hair's a little wet. Apologies. I'm seeing in the chat here from Selfless that the House Ethics Committee has voted to release the Matt Gaetz report. Spicy. That's going to be amazing. Of course, he's already released a statement and is like, I never had sexual relations with that woman. Yeah, also TikTok, the case is going forward. John Roberts has put it to the whole Supreme Court. They're going to, take a look at it on January 9th, y'all. So TikTok has a chance to live. My necklaces got so tangled while I was walking, guys. I apologize. I should have, maybe in the shower. I don't know. I should have fixed that. Anyway, y'all, if you were watching my walk and talk over on What's Up with Nora, I explained a little bit that I've had quite the fucking morning. So I'm going to do my best here to not let that get me down, because we need to finish this motherfucking document, which is really, really taking forever. But my resolve is strong. I am not defeated yet. And, the walking definitely helps. The walking definitely helps to keep me sane. So I appreciate all you guys tuning in here to talk some politics and all of that kind of good stuff. Let it rip, let it roll. Say what's on your mind. There's a lot of wild stuff happening right now in America. And one of these things is still Project 2025 because, that's what's happening. Project 2025 is, yeah. Yes. And I did speak with Nance Drew earlier, for those of you guys who follow the Scientology stuff. Hopefully I'm going to get to chat with her and her lawyer later. So we'll get the down and dirty on that back over on What's Up with Nora. But right now, let's get into the politics. Let's get into it. We have a lot to cover. Let's bring this bad boy up. Blah. Oh, you walked with me, Tazzy? Good job. Yeah, I'm going to get up. Like, I'm doing a half an hour of walking right now. That gets me just over a mile, depending on how fast I'm going. So I'm working up to it. I want to walk for an hour. That's the goal, but I'm starting at a half an hour. I'm trying to be good and not hurt myself. I just realized that I forgot something upstairs that I'm going to need in like 1 second. So, BRB, guys, BRB. Okay, I'm back. Had to get some things. Most importantly, my nuts, because instead of having candy and sugar by me, I have got some delicious cashews and almonds from Trader Joe's. There we go. All right, let's dive into this mess. Regulatory and information policy. OMB's OIRA plays an enormous and vital role in reining in the regulatory state. Keep looking for these keywords, guys. Reining in the regulatory state. All right. And ensuring that regulations achieve important benefits while imposing minimal burdens on Americans. The president should maintain Executive Order 12866, the foundation of OIRA's review of regulatory actions. The administration should likewise maintain the recent extension of those standards to regulatory actions of the U.S. Department of Treasury. Regulatory analysis and OIRA review should also be required of the historically independent agencies of the legal counsel as the Office of Legal Counsel has found it's legally permissible. So the independent agencies, right? FBI, CIA, Department of Justice. If the current administration proceeds with its declared intent to modify aspects of Executive Order 12866 or review OMB Circular A-4, the related document that provides the foundation for cost-benefit analysis, the next president should immediately begin to undo those changes and develop a rigorous, data-driven approach that will result in the least burdensome rules possible. The next president should also revive the directive in Executive Order 13891 that significant guidance documents must also pass through OIRA. Okay, so basically tear down whatever Biden's trying to do at the end of his time and put back some old-ass bullshit. Got it. Because OIRA review often leads to fewer regulatory burdens, more regulatory benefits, and better coordination of regulatory policy, funding for OIRA tends to pay large dividends. Yet over the years, funding for OIRA has diminished. Oh, sad panda. This trend should be reversed. Who is going to be in the OIRA? Who are they trying to funnel money to? Okay, considering 2 individuals to head that, each of whom appears likely to wield a wrecking ball against the health, safety, environmental, consumer worker rights, civil rights, and financial security protections. Perfect. Perfect. Who is he proposing? Naomi Rio comes from the Koch-funded George Mason University Law School. Her writings evince a profound hostility to the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. She does not like Lizzie Warren. Okay. The other, Paul Noe, is a top lobbyist for American Forest and Paper Association. Fuck them trees. So we got one nominee that just wants to fuck us financially and the other one that wants to fuck us environmentally. Perfect. Perfect. And we want to pump up their budget. Pump up the jam with the budget. The budget should also include sufficient full-time equivalent employees to form regulatory advance teams that would consult with agencies on cost-benefit analysis and good regulatory practice. I'm sorry, I thought we were making smaller government. How come this department gets all the people and all the money? Oh, right, because it's going to fuck everybody. This is the fuck everybody department. Okay. No, stop that alarm. I already did it. Okay. And good regulatory practices at the beginning of the rulemaking process for the most important regulations. These teams would help agencies take cost-benefit analysis into account from the beginning of their rulemaking efforts, which in turn would result in higher quality regulations and swifter eventual OIRA review. Sure. To preserve the integrity of OIRA review, the staff who consult at the beginning of the rulemaking should not handle its eventual review. The next president should also reinstate the many executive orders signed by President Trump that were designed to make the regulatory process more just, efficient, and transparent. All these orders should be revived with modifications needed. Right. So the ones that, like, when Biden came in office and was like, no, we don't want to destroy the whole environment, and car makers have to have, you know, fucking emission standards and all this other stuff. No, we're going back to like where we were. Yeah, they want to take all that away again. Let the car companies go buck wild. Executive Order 13132 on federalism should be strengthened so that state regulatory and fiscal operations are not commandeered by the federal government through so-called cooperative federalism programs. Additionally, the president should revise and sign an updated version of President Ronald Reagan's Executive Order 12630 on federal takings. What the fuck are federal takings? This is why we're reading this together, guys. I don't know what that is. In 1988, a president issued an executive order on property rights to ensure that the government actions affecting the use of private property are undertaken on a well-reasoned basis with due regard for potential financial impacts imposed on the government. So, remember how they started enforcing eminent domain everywhere? Especially along the border. People who had generational ranches and shit along the Mexican border. It was all of a sudden hundreds of acres of their land were now declared not theirs and taken to create the wall and all this other bullshit. To ensure that the government actions affecting the use of private property are undertaken on a well-reasoned basis with due regard for the potential financial impacts imposed on the government. Right? So technically, if the government has to take my private land, right, I can charge them for the use of my private land. Okay? And that's why this went away. But what they want to do is like revive this shit. So basically the federal government can come in and take whatever private property they want to use for whatever they want and just say tough tits. It's these little things, guys. This is why we're reading it line by line, because they just throw these teeny tiny little nuggets in here that you would miss if you just get the highlights. The next president should strengthen the implementation of the Information Quality Act, robustly use the authority of Paperwork Reduction Act, and carefully enforce the Privacy Act. Okay, hang on. Was ist los? The Information Quality Act is a law that requires federal agencies to ensure the quality of information they disseminate. The Office of Management and Budget, OMB, issues guidance on the Information Quality Act, and agencies must then develop their own guidelines. Okay, so they have to say truthful shit, and they have to make up their own guidelines. So they should strengthen that robustly and use the Paperwork Reduction Act I can't read that. Okay. Was enacted to minimize the paperwork burden for individuals, small businesses, educational, nonprofit institutions, federal contractors. Okay. Establishes a broad mandate for agencies to perform their information activities in efficient, effective, and economical manner. Okay, so less of a paper trail. So they want more regulations, less of a paper trail on that, and what? It protects individuals from the collection, use, and disclosure of their personal information by federal agencies. This establishes a code of fair information practices, right to request records, okay. I'm just literally trying to understand. The next president should strengthen the implementation of, oh, hang on. Sorry, it's Nance Drew. All right. And ensure the sound execution of OIRA's statistical and other information policy functions. This just got so nerdy, I can't sit at this nerd table. But basically what it's sounding like to me is that, like, they want to collect as much as they can with the least paper trail possible within reason because of the Privacy Act. Regulatory cooperation agreements can also promote the further adoption, oh God, I can't see, of good regulatory practices which improve market conditions for America and her allies. OIRA should also work with other components of OMB to revise and apply OMB's uniform guidance for grants and agreements and ensure that federal contract and grant guidelines satisfy ethics order or executive order. Sorry, Scientology popped out of my face there. And other centralized standards as appropriate. But executive reforms and actions, while vital, are not enough. Congress also must act. The next president should work with Congress to pass significant regulatory policy and process reforms, which could go a long way toward reining in the administrative state. Excellent examples of such legislation include the Regulatory Accountability Act, SMART Act, GOOD Act, Early Participation in Regulations Act, Unfunded Mandates Accountability and Transparency Act, and REINS Act. Let's just look at this one here to see an example of what the frack they're talking about here. Congress passes so much shit, guys, we would never have any idea. Bill would reassert Congress's legislative authority and prevent excessive overreach by the executive branch in the federal rulemaking process. It would require every new major rule proposed by the federal agencies to be approved by both the House and Senate before going into effect. Okay. So I guess these are acts to separate the three branches more, which is fine. That's what the Constitution intended, is checks and balances. Finally, the next president should work with Congress to maximize the utility of the Congressional Review Act, which allows Congress to undo midnight regulatory actions, including those disguised as guidance on an accelerated timeline. To leverage the CRA's powers to the maximum extent, Congress and the president should enact the Midnight Rules Relief Act, which would help to ensure that multiple regulatory actions could be packaged and voted on at the same time. What the frack is this? What is this sneaky deaky shit? So this bill allows Congress to disapprove multiple regulations under one joint resolution of disapproval if the regulations were submitted for review during the last 60 legislative days of the final year of a president's term. Currently, each joint resolution may disapprove of only one regulation. So why do they want that? Because in the last 60 days, presidents oftentimes are, making a bunch of shit happen. So they want to make a rule so that they can erase everything that happened in the last 60 days with one fell swoop. One fell swoop. Which would help to ensure that multiple regulatory actions could be packaged and voted on at the same time. Immediate and robust use of the CRA would allow the president to focus his rulemaking resources on major new regulatory reforms rather than devoting months or years to undoing the final rulemakings of the Biden administration. So all of the things that Biden has been doing now to ensure rights for certain people, to shore up education, to shore up Medicare, Medi-Cal, Social Security, one vote, poof, all gone. Because he's got to focus on his rulemaking, not on all of those pesky things that Biden did. Legislative clearance and coordination. OMB plays a critical role in ensuring that the executive branch is aligned on legislative proposals and language, agency testimonies, and other communications with Congress. The director should use these authorities to enforce policy and message consistency aggressively and promote the effective engagement of the executive branch in legislative processes. Okay. National Security Council was established by statute to support the president in developing and implementing national security policy by coordinating across relevant departments and agencies, integrating authorities and resources toward common ends, and objectively assessing progress toward established goals. Okay. Led by the National Security Advisor, the NSC, staff will be successful in implementing the president's national security goals only if it is made up of personnel with technical expertise and experience as well as an alignment to the president's declared national security policy priorities. They must be Trumpity-Trumpers. The NSC must then chart a course that articulates and achieves the president's national security goals and objectives. The president should empower a strong NSC that not only has the power to convene the policy process, but also is entrusted with the full power of the presidency to drive the bureaucracy. In organizing, by means of presidential directive, an NSC staff that is more responsive and aligned with the president's goals and empowered to implement them, the NSA should immediately evaluate and eliminate directorates that are not aligned with the president's agenda. Yep. Just eliminate that shit as appropriate that can drive implementation of the president's signature national security priorities. In addition to realigning the staff organization to the president's priorities, the NSA should assign responsibility for implementation of specific policy initiatives to senior NSC officials from across the staff structure. These officials should develop, direct, and execute tangible action plans in coordination with multiple agencies to achieve measurable time-defined milestones. All right, aligning NSC staff to the president's national security goals will provide clearer direction, a mandate for action, and a baseline of accountability that can be used to evaluate staff performance and the NSC's overall progress. Accountable senior officials themselves, either political appointees or a minimum number of career detailees who are selected and vetted politically, of course, vetted politically, and report directly to political staff should be the main day-to-day managers for interagency coordination. Like they're not vetted like criminally. Let's just vet them politically, okay? And implementation of their assigned national security policy objectives. They should provide policy analysis for consideration by the broader NSC and relevant agencies and ensure timely responses to decisions made by the president. The accountable senior officials should be established at the direction of the NSA and draw on personnel and experience from beyond the NSC, including the OMB, the National Economic Council. Okay, They should work in tandem. Okay, so to accomplish the national objectives effectively, foreign policy should fully incorporate the economic instruments of national power. This is the America First bullshit. Okay. National security policy must also include the prioritized allocation of resources. When policies are divorced from the resources required to implement them, they are stillborn. Ooh. Academic exercises that undermine our national security and leave departments and agencies to their own devices. Yeah, don't do anything with academics. Gross. Gross. The accountable senior officials should be empowered to identify, recruit, clear, and hire staff who are aligned with, and willing to shepherd the president's national security priorities. You got Papa Trump has to love you. You know, you gotta bring him his offering of McDonald's and KFC, or else you're not going to be allowed in that room. NSC staff leads under the direction of the NSA should have the discretion to reduce the number of positions that need high-level clearances. Let's just give everybody clearance. Let's just give everybody clearance. They should have the discretion to reduce the number of positions that need high-level clearances, meaning most people are going to get to know national, top-secret shit. That is very bad. And the NSC should also be adequately resourced and authorized to adjudicate and hold security clearances internally with investigators who work directly for the NSC and whose sole task is to clear NSC officials. So we get to decide which of us is okay because we're going to make those decisions. And then also, we think these rules are like a little too strict and we really want our friends to have clearances, even though like they probably shouldn't because like, you know, they have like bad connections, but it's fine. It's fine. We trust them. Yeah. If certain staff are determined not to need high-level clearances, the question becomes whether they should be part of the NSC at all. I think everybody who's part of the National Security Committee should have the absolute highest clearance. So what are we talking about? The NSC should take a leading role in directing the drafting and thorough review of all formal strategies. The National Security Strategy, the National Defense Strategy, the Nuclear Posture Review, the Missile Defense Strategy, etc. In particular, the National Defense Strategy, which by tradition has evaded significant review, should be prioritized for White House review by the NSC and the OMB. Okay, yeah, those things should be important. Both should also conduct reviews of operational war plans and global force planning and allocations with the Secretary of Defense to align them with presidential priorities. So that right. He wants this woman to be the director of national intelligence. No, thank you. This woman is a paid Putin puppet. Tulsi Gabbard, a one-time pretend Democrat who grew up in a cult that her father runs on the island of Hawaii, where she was brainwashed out of being the gay. Yeah. So no, thank you. No, thank you. Sorry. Laura checking in for tonight. All right. The NSC should rigorously review all general and flag officer promotions to prioritize core roles and responsibilities of the military over social engineering and non-defense matters, including climate change, critical race theory, manufactured extremism, and other polarizing policies that weaken our armed forces and discourage our nation's finest men and women from enlisting to serve in defense of our liberty. So we can't have any generals that are, going to protect women or encourage the women who have been in active combat to carry on doing that. I think Tammy Duckworth would like to have a word. The NSC staff will need to consolidate the functions of both the NSC and the Homeland Security Council, incorporate the recently established Office of National Cyber Director, and evaluate the required regional and functional directors. Like in the year 2024, we finally made a cyber director, like for fuck's sake. And evaluate the required regional and functional directives. Given the aforementioned prerequisites, the NSC should be properly resourced with sufficient policy professionals, and the NSA should prioritize staffing the vast majority of NSC directorates with aligned political appointees and trusted career officials. For instance, the NSA should return all non-essential detailees to their home agencies on their first day in office, so that the new administration can proceed efficiently without the personnel landmines left by the previous stewards. And as soon as possible, replace all essential detailees with staff aligned to the new president's priorities. I'm going to repeat that. So the NSA, the National Security Agency, should just basically tell the men and women who have been serving to protect our country, thanks so much. Thanks so much. And you guys go right ahead and head back to headquarters there at Langley or wherever. And yep. And then they're going to handpick a bunch of trumpets to replace those people who already knew what they were doing with people who possibly have no idea what they're doing. Awesome. Awesome. You don't want any personnel landmines. People who disagree, dissent. This isn't looking like a fascist takeover of our country at all. Not like a coup or anything. The HSC has overseen pandemic response, and its incorporation is important. In the end, change requires intervention. And the NSC staff should be appropriately recruited, manned, and empowered to achieve the president's national security and foreign policy objectives and maintain robust policy analysis and discussion while minimizing resistance from those who have an agenda or who jealously guard their resources and autonomy at the expense of national security and sound policy development. Oh, you mean like people who are going to stand in the face of tyranny and defend democracy so that you can't just fucking take a shit on it? You want those people out of the way? Okay. This resistance and inertia can be inadvertently enabled by a small, unempowered NSC. Additionally, the White House Chief of Staff and NSA must ensure that the NSC is functioning in tandem with the rest of the White House staff to benefit from the best strategic thinking of the president's top advisors. History shows that an unsupervised NSC staff can stray from its statutory role and adversely affect a president and his policies. Moreover, while the NSC should be fully incorporated into the White House, it should also be allowed to do its job without the impediment of duly hatted staff that report to other offices. Yeah, you don't want people doing two jobs. You just want the one. Dedication. For instance, the NSC needs its own counsel. We don't want to use the White House counsel. Ew. Right? To inform what legal options can be provided to the president. The White House counsel should be part of that policy process as the president's top legal advisor. Okay. But we get our own special counsel that can tell us, we don't really have to ask him for the permission on that. It's kind of legal. We're good. We're good. And then that way the president doesn't got to know. And if he doesn't got to know, he didn't know it. It's okay. He didn't do it. Yeah. These recommendations provide a clear roadmap for rapidly sizing and solidifying the NSC staff to support and achieve the president's objectives beginning on Inauguration Day. Guys, they want to hit the ground at a full sprint. Okay? Yeah. You nailed it, Selfless. This is total control of national security by the executive. They are making a king. Yes. Yes. They are disallowing any dissonant voices, any dissenting. And it's got like, this is why we read this, guys, because we can assume all these things, but they're saying it. They're saying it in black and white. I agree 100%. Oh, now what? His first term was a dress rehearsal, testing the limits and loopholes. This term will be the same, but on steroids. Now we're at the play. Now we're at the play. I don't think I can play that. Let me put up my disclaimer here. This is how this show starts out. So insane. But I don't think this is season 1. This is later. Yeah, that's not season 1, episode 1. Do they have a pilot? I think there's a pilot episode. I don't want to be struck down by God. No, I don't want to see the big moment.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, so I saved hundreds.
Blah, blah, blah. Liberty,
With the money
liberty,
I saved,
liberty.
I thought I'd get a wax figure of myself. Cool, right? Look at the craftsmanship.
That is how
I mean,
episode
even
1
my
starts. There's a
nostrils, right?
specific part I'm trying to get to. Right? See all these ladies just walking out with their stuff? Look at.
I don't have a choice. Ladies, gentlemen,
Watch.
folks, may I have your attention, please? Ladies, you should all know that I feel really sorry about this.
Oh, shit.
It isn't my decision. I don't have a choice. I have to let you go.
What?
I have to let you all go.
Wait, we're being fired?
No, not fired. No, let go.
What does that even mean?
You can't work here anymore. It's the law now.
Boom. All the women rounded up and just told, you can't work here. It's not the law. It's the law. You can't work here anymore. You're not being fired. You're being let go. Okay. I haven't watched that show because this lady, I'm probably going to make an exception and watch the show. Yeah. Yeah. But there we go, guys. We're starting on it. We're starting on it. The National Economic Council is one of the policy councils serving the president along with the NSC and the Domestic Policy Council. Okay, so we got these three. It's the little trifecta. The director serves... Oh, my household would be fucked. It's a 2-lady household. The National Economic Council is one of the policy councils serving the president along with the NSC and the Domestic Policy Council. The director serves as principal advisor to the president on domestic and international economic policy and communicates the president's economic message to the media. The deputy director is responsible for the day-to-day operation of the council, which includes chairing the committee that coordinates economic policy development at the deputy secretary level. In effect, the director and deputy director are the officials who are primarily responsible for the development of economic policymaking for the administration. Once a policy is adopted, it is the appropriate agency's responsibility to implement it. The NEC's policy process is also used to determine whether the president should support or oppose legislation passed by Congress. The NEC's policy process is also used to determine whether the president should support or oppose legislation passed by Congress. So this council, the National Economic Council, gets to tell Trump whether he's do the Caesar, yes or no. That's the power that they're giving this council. In addition to its leadership, the NEC has policy experts, for example, special assistants to the president, or SAPs, SAPs, I love that they're SAPs, who are responsible for developing and coordinating as well as advising the president on specific issues. It's essential that the policy expertise of the NEC reflect the current environment's most pressing issues. Today, this would include, among other topics, taxes, energy, and environment, technology, infrastructure, healthcare, financial services, workforce, agriculture, antitrust, and competition policy, and retirement programs. That's fucking everything. That's fucking everything. NEC's SAPs should have working knowledge of how the administration can implement policy through the rulemaking process, although it's not necessary that they be experts on regulation themselves, particularly given OMB's role. This will facilitate the NEC's effectiveness in coordinating administration policy. The NEC needs to work closely with other offices within the executive office of the president to promote innovation by the private sector and create an environment that will simulate economic activity while reducing federal spending and debt. This includes working with the DPC, NSC, OMB, Council of Economic Advisors, Office of Intergovernmental Affairs, Office of Cabinet Affairs, White House Council, Council on Environment Quality, Office of Legislative Affairs, and Office of Science and Technology Policy. So basically, they're going to have their hands in everything. This is one gigantic daisy chain circle jerk that they're creating here. To this end, the NEC director should chair a standing meeting with the principals from each of the other EOP offices to enhance coordination from within. Yeah, let's have our secret Knights of the Roundtable meeting every Thursday because we're the decision makers. In the past, there's been tension among these three over jurisdictions. Important to set clear jurisdictions at the start of an administration to prevent needless and counterproductive turf fights. In addition, the principal deputy for international economic policy is jointly appointed at the NEC, the Economic and the Security Council. Interesting. And could end up serving two different interests. To avoid such problems, international economic policy should be entirely coordinated only from the NEC. It'll be especially important for the NEC to work seamlessly with the Council of Economic Advisors, which provides the President and the White House offices with the latest economic data and forecasts, as well as estimates of the economic impact of proposed policies, and prepares the annual economic report of the President. The CEA is not a policy council and therefore does not run policy processes, which is the responsibility of the NEC, DPC, and NSC. However, the CEA does play a key role in ensuring that any policy considered by the councils is rigorously evaluated for its economic impacts. The NEC works closely with the White House Office of Communications and Office of Speech Writing to ensure that the White House messaging and media engagement communicate the president's economic policy effectively. Make sure we have one singular sensation every little step we take. Ba-da-da-na-na-na. Just that one messaging, singular. One word, one message. Keep it on point. The NEC also plays a key role in advancing the president's economic agenda by advising the Office of the Presidential Personnel on appointments to key economic posts, including positions in financial regulatory agencies. Yep. They're going to have an inside guy who's like, that's the guy. That's the guy. Yes, correct, Selfus. Budget and spending is only the purview. It's Congress's job to do that, but not today. Not today. We're going to do the bougie our way. Trump says it's a new day. Yeah. They don't give a shit. The NEC helps to ensure that each economic post is held by a person who shares the president's policy priorities and works well with the rest of the administration's economic team. The financial regulators are run partly by civil servants, and some of whom were political appointees in prior liberal administrations, who often resist a conservative administration's policies. It's therefore critical that an administration not only appoints capable individuals to lead these agencies, but also has personnel who can be hired into senior staff positions within the agencies. A few areas will be especially important if the NEC is to develop a well-defined economic policy agenda. One is the promotion of innovation as a foundation for economic growth and opportunity. Another is the creation of an environment that fosters economic growth through tax reform and the elimination of regulatory and political procedural barriers. Procedural barriers. Let's not have any barriers to what we want to do. The Office of the U.S. Trade Representative. Okay, here we go into tariff land. The Office of the U.S. Trade Representative provides the president with the internal White House resources necessary to formulate and execute a unified whole-of-government approach to trade policy. The president should ensure that the USTR is empowered to serve in that leadership role, much as other EOP components organize and drive a coordinated policy agenda on behalf of the president. The People's Republic of China, their predatory trade practices have disrupted the open market trading system that has provided mutual benefit to all participating countries, including China, for decades. No. That's not correct. Unchecked, untethered capitalism and allowing CEOs to get paid 1,000 times what their average worker gets paid is the fucking problem. Thank you, Cuddly Floof. I appreciate you. The People's Republic, blah, 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 I read that already. Have disrupted the open market trading system that has provided mutual benefit to all participating countries, including China, for decades. The failure of the World Trade Organization to discipline China for abrogation of its trading commitments has seriously undermined its credibility and made it a largely ineffective institution. I don't know if I agree with that. The United States, through an empowered USTR, must act to rebalance and refocus international trading relationships in favor of democratic nations that embrace free, fair, and open trade principles built on market-driven economies. So you give me my shit cheap so I can sell it for more. And stop making people want to do business in your country by making that labor so cheap. But you give it to us for cheap. Chapter 26 of this book outlines recommended trade policy priorities for the incoming president. However, regardless of the approach, successful implementation of that trade agenda will require the president to articulate a clear policy direction and instructions for the executive branch to operate in a coordinated fashion under the leadership of an empowered USTR. To address these and other challenges, protect the American worker, sure, bub, and secure free and open markets for our communities and businesses? I don't think so. The next president must leverage the institutional resources and strength of the USTR and neither allow institutional interests to drive a fragmented trade policy that's developed from the ground up, nor cater to parochial interests across government and Washington's broader industry of influence. The USTR's mission is vitally important in reorienting the global trading system in a direction that is open, fair, and prosperous. I love how America is going to be like, you know what the problem is? The problem is people, we don't like this game. Guys, time out. Everybody's out of bounds. Okay? So we're going to just redo the rules. We're going to redo the rules for everybody, okay? Because, like, I know some of you guys are doing real well with it and you like it, but we don't like it. We're bored now, and we're gonna change the game and the rules because we're bored and it's dumb. So you guys listen to us. We're in charge. We made up the game anyway. So you guys have to shh. We're doing it. We change all the rules, and you guys better do it, or we're gonna burn your shit down. Like, it's like, have you ever been on like a playground where somebody just fucking like, they're losing at Foursquare. So they're just like, guys, we're playing a new game now. It's called Nora Square. And I'm going to tell you the rules. And then I'll just tell you when you break the rules because it's my game. It's important that you just do my game. Okay. Because it's my birthday. So I'm in charge. Ugh. Sorry. In order to achieve the president's policy goals, a strong USTR must be empowered to set trade policy from the White House with the authority. I'm sorry. This is just so fucking gross. From the White House with the authority and resources to represent the interests of the president's trade agenda with adequate budget, staff analysis, and expertise to engage meaningfully in internal and interagency policy deliberations. So this tiny government agency is now going to represent the White House, the president, with whatever they say. That's as if the president's saying it, because they are going to have that authority. The USTR should organize and harness existing interagency trade committees to serve the president's trade agenda and drive a consensus among federal stakeholders, dispose of legacy advisory committees. Get rid of that shit. Fuck those guys. With members who serve special interests like the people. Direct action to implement policy priorities. Yep. Just give them carte blanche. Give them the fucking checkbook. Measure progress toward implementing the president's agenda and hold agencies and officials accountable for delivering the president's agenda. The USTR's leadership should not only coordinate and enforce the president's agenda across the federal community, but also set and enforce the president's trade agenda internally. Trade policies and priorities should be set by the president and implemented by the U.S. Trade Representative in cooperation with other economic and national security officials, not by the range of governmental and non-governmental interests that attempt to force their policy preferences on the USTR. So they should be set by the president and implemented by this representative in coordination with other economic and national security officials, not by the range of governmental and non-governmental interests like the people that attempt to force their policy preferences on this representative. A strong USTR empowered with the necessary resources, authorities, and interagency cooperation will protect U.S. interests in the global marketplace more effectively. Let's just see something here. Jameson Greer. Oh, look at this guy. He doesn't look like, the second choice in a rom-com that ends up being super evil at all. Okay. He served as chief of staff to Robert Lighthizer, the trade representative during Trump's first term. At the time, the administration implemented across-the-board tariffs on China and other countries, as well as signed into the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. He's going to focus the office on reining in the country's massive trade deficit, defending American manufacturing, agriculture, and services, opening up export markets everywhere, Trump said in a Tuesday announcement that lauded Greer as having played a key role during my first term in imposing tariffs on China and others to combat unfair trade policies and replacing failed NAFTA, which was not a failure, with the USMCA, therefore making it much better for American workers. It did not. Yeah, this guy's eyes are too small for his head. So, yeah. Okay. Scary. Okay. A strong USTR empowered with the necessary resources, authorities, and interagency cooperation will protect U.S. interests in the global marketplace more effectively. Okay. I'm going to go to your questions and comments here, guys. We've been doing this for an hour. Every hour, it's like we go through so much stuff, but it's like we're learning things, guys. Basically, you can see that they're setting up the executive branch. They're trying to separate the executive and the congressional branch more, so like the Congress really can't see everything that the executive branch is doing, giving it far more power and taking away constitutionally what the Congress is supposed to be doing, right? So let me check out your comments and questions here that I didn't get to. Let me go here. Boom. Selma, you're up first, my friend. They should replace the word president with oligarchs in this whole document. I agree. Our allies are already saying that they will hesitate to share any intelligence with the Nest. I hope so. We are fucked, guys. We are fucked. Yeah. They must yield that trumpet. Yeah, Abraham. And I said this one already. I'll say it again. His first term was a dress rehearsal, testing the limits and loopholes. This term will be the same, but on steroids. Yes. We all know that control of women is the only regulation that Republicans actually want. Correct. Thank you, Cuddly Floof. I appreciate you. Thank you. Tazzy D says, our Australian conservative politicians are watching Project 2025 closely and salivating. We have a federal election next year. I'm scared. It ticks all their ideological boxes. Yeah, this is very scary. It's disgusting. I really hope that y'all in Australia can do the right thing and fuck those guys. Fuck them. Selma. Oh, this is a question for Selfless, but I'll answer it. The people who wrote this Project 2025, who are a lot, I think, what are they getting out of this? I haven't heard any of them getting any high functions. You know, I think they're getting satisfaction of trying to see how far they can put America into a white Christian nationalist country. That's the goal of this document. I mean, that's, if you're going to sum this up in a nutshell, this is a white, white Christian nationalist mandate, manifesto, where they are trying to get rid of democracy with fascism that they're going to call democracy. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Oh, now what? I feel you. This morning was a lot, and now I'm even more fucked up. I don't know. I would love to be able to move my kids to the UK. I would love to sell this house and sell every single thing inside of it and just fuck off over to another country. The problem for me on that, right? And it's not even that my wife isn't like supportive of that. Like if we could, I think we would. The problem is that we have 4 kids. I was previously married to a man. My wife was previously married to a man. And each of us in those marriages separately produced 2 children. One of those children will send Prince Andrew to America. Okay. He'll probably become besties with Trump since they're both on the Epstein list. Right. My oldest is already, 19 and working. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. Girl child is about to turn 18 and head off to college. And then we have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. One from each of us, right? I'm pretty sure that with the safety concerns, I could convince my 16-year-old's dad to be like, hey, I'm taking him and protecting him and we're getting the fuck out of here. Kind of a situation. That would be a rough talk, but I'm pretty sure I could do that. My wife's ex-husband is a great guy, I don't think that conversation would go quite the same way. And the thing that my wife and I value more than anything else is all of us being together as a family, and, yeah, I don't have a way to convince everybody to do that. Also, I don't have the money to do that. Like, that's a lot. I need a lot of money, guys. Like a fuck ton of money. So if anybody is a sugar mama, sugar daddy out there, wants to hit me up and, pay some bills for me, you go right ahead. But yeah. So I'm trying to understand this document. I'm trying to wrap my mind around the best way that I can possibly protect my family, protect myself, legally, physically, all of those things. And be ready for, whatever is coming next, for whatever's coming next. So far, if this playbook plays out, it looks like it's going to be a whole fuck ton of shit. So, yeah, the co-parenting is, we're very lucky. We're very blessed in that regard. So, I mean, honestly, if y'all want to pay these bills, y'all want to come pay my bills, we'll pack this shit up. I will pack it up. I mean, I've already told Scientology many times, you want to pay me $500 million, I will shut the fuck up faster than you can fucking finish handing me that check, bro. That I can promise you. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to go over more of this tomorrow. We are on now page 89 of 922. Look at that. We've almost reached 100 pages. Yeah. We're going to keep going, guys. This is a long-ass fucking document, but we're going to get to it. We're going to keep reading it. We're going to keep understanding it, keep asking questions about it, keep discussing it. Please know what is going on in the new rule book, and let's do our best to fight back. Yippee, more tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all so much. I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Oh No, America. I'm your host, Nora Ames. Hopefully this day has been informative, fun, and given you a little sparkle of America. Thank you to my mods, as always, for keeping things cool, chill. And if you guys want some of that sweet, sweet merch, hit us up at ohnoamerica.com.
You'll find